Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Easily my favorite song is that one right there. It's Easily. You are listening to Mike and Blaine. This is episode number 109. I am Mike Milan, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is my partner, Blaine Birch. He is the CEO and founder of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. Blaine, what's up, man?
Oh, I've been looking forward to this all week. We got a perfect day for a beer. It's been a busy week. So yeah, this is a great time to sit down and chat some business, chat some BS, and drink some beer.
All right, so we got to do this. I never know how to start the show, right? But I spent time with Larry Weinstein, one of your beer sponsors this week. And he says, you guys are not promoting yourselves enough in this podcast. You need to do it at the beginning. You need to do it in the middle. You need to do it at the end. I'm like, going, yeah, we do that. He goes, not enough. You need to do more. So how do we do more?
I have to agree. You know what? Let's start with doing just the quick one sentence. Because I actually watched a podcast the other day. It was the same thing, like totally different. I was with watches or something. And the guy like promoted themselves in the first like 2 seconds of the video. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea because we have a long one. People probably aren't around for till the end. So I will. You kind of promoted a little bit when you introduced me, but I will just do my quick little blurb, which I have not even tried. So we'll see what comes out. But it was going to be a nice, short, introductory. So Dry Run. If you own a business and you got to figure out where you're headed in your cash flow, what your sales look like, and you need to model some scenarios to make some smart decisions, come and talk with us at dryrun.com. We will help you. We'll get you set up. You can even try it for free. Come talk with us.
Yeah, that's perfect, right? That seems perfect. That's really good. So, hey, I'll do a little bit. I'm Cashflow Mike. You can find me at cashflowmike.com. And I tell you, if you are the type of person that's ever looked at your financial statements and you go, what the heck is this? What do I do next? How do I use these to make more money? Well, that's what I teach you. In the Clear Path to Cash, I give you financial strategies that are easy to implement and even quicker to explain, right? So you'll see it very instantly where you have a problem, where you're inefficient, and I'll give you strategies to put that money back in your pocket. So I'm Mike, you're Blaine, and we have a podcast, and we have a website for the podcast called mikeandblaine.com. What can we do there?
Oh, we got you can buy some goods. We actually have like t-shirts and mugs and all kinds of stuff. You can buy us a beer, which we love. We keep, we get people buying us beer every once in a while. It's so much fun. We got beer sponsors right now. It's actually our last week with my last beer sponsor. So we're empty for beer sponsors now. And it's of course you can also see all our episodes and all that. Also want to just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button right now, guys, so you don't miss any episodes because we got this going on every single week.
Now, I do have to tell you, neighbor Pat has a beer ready, so I'm gonna anticipate I'm gonna have a sponsor in the next week or two. But I think he's got a beer ready. All right, because he let me taste test it the other day, so I think he's got one ready. All right, so speaking of beer, I mean that is one of the things we do here. We do business, we do beer, we do BS. How about a little bit of beer? What are you drinking?
So today, because like our topic today is around inventory and inventory management. And so I mentioned to Mike before this, I don't know a hell of a lot about inventory. I understand some of the cash flow ramifications, but there's a lot of subtleties in inventory I really don't understand. And so I said, well, I know about as much about inventory as a Space Armadillo, double IPA. So this is Space Armadillo from Twin Sails Brewing. Oh, Twin Sails Brewing. I didn't even realize it's Twin Sails. Twin Sails is in just outside of Vancouver in this great little town, Port Moody. And I love that place. My wife and I were there a few years ago to Port Moody. It was awesome. They had like 3 different little breweries there. They got a little beach there with like one of those fish and chips shacks and an ice cream shop. And it's like 1980. I love that place. And this is a great little brewery. And I'm running out of beer because we're heading south soon. So I'm getting to some slim pickings on what I get to pick. So it might not match our topic as much as usual.
Well, you're going to be equally as disappointed in me because I got onto a plane this morning at 5:50, and I've been on a plane all morning. I got home and I go, oh my God, I don't have a podcast beer. So I ran out real quick. And of course, I went to the closest place I could go, just a little convenience store. Normally they have something. Today they didn't have really hardly anything. So I'm like going, well, I'm gonna go with a bigger company you might know. It's not Budweiser, it's not Coors, it's not, but it is Sierra Nevada. I went with the Hazy little thing, the IPA, and it's a great beer. It really is. But they had like three choices, and this was the closest to a craft beer that they had.
Well, you know what, and Sierra Nevada is a really good brewery. They're one of the original craft beer companies in the U.S. They are bigger now, but they still make really good beer, and I think they still have a bit of the mindset and culture of a craft brewery. So,
Well, and I actually been to the brewery in Chico, right? Hey, did you know Chico was named at least in the 80s, 90s? Because I used to make fun of my friend that went to Chico State, which was the party school as named by a men's magazine of the United States, right? So it's like going, so their population and their student enrollment increased like double after they were named the party school. Now I think it's like Arizona State gets it every year, but
I've heard that. Yeah.
Chico State was the thing for a long time.
Yeah, you got a dose of it because you were at the Waste Management Open in Scottsdale. Was it last year, the year before? And if you want to see a bunch of ASU kids on, what's almost like spring break, it's just you just go to the golf course and you'll see it. So I get that.
Hey, so let me tell you a little bit about that. First of all, I mean, it's packed, right? The place is just, I mean, I've never, you watch golf tournaments on TV. I'm sure you don't watch it. You flick through golf tournaments on TV and you catch a glimpse of, the crowd, and they may be 3-4 deep on the rope, just wherever they're playing. Not at Waste Management Tour. This thing is deep everywhere. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, the sidewalks are packed. The bars are packed. That's tense. They call it Stadium Row, right, or something like that. The stadium stretch. It's like the 16th, 17th, and 18th hole. Yeah. You are engulfed with stands. I'm talking about stands that are collegiate football type stadium stands, right? I mean, that big. Yeah. And the 16th hole is the infamous one, right? If you hit a hole in one, they just shower everything. You can go to YouTube and just find videos of them just throwing beer everywhere and getting crazy. Yeah. But it's the only place I've ever seen them also boo a golfer, right? No, normally it's quiet, right? Be quiet, be demure, be polite. Yeah. No, if you miss the green or if you're not even close to the hole, you're going to get rained down on, not with beer for the celebration. You're going to get rained down with booze.
Yeah.
You're going to hear it from the stands.
That 16th hole, I think it's the one place on the PGA Tour where people are just loud. And they're allowed to be. It's culturally, you're allowed. That's one place on tour you're allowed to be just completely loud and obnoxious. And it's an interesting place. It's an interesting place to watch some golf. It's a fun place to watch some golf, but it's not what I expected the first time when I went to a PGA Tour event, and it was not what I thought I was going to. So
you're not getting that in Augusta, the Masters, right? You're not getting it there.
No.
So, yeah. All right. So here's what happened this week. I had a really cool experience, right? So I've had I thought it was about 7 years. They corrected me today. They said it's been a decade, maybe 12 years, 10 to 12 years that I've worked with a company called the MMBC. It's the Mid-South Minority Business Council Continuum, right? And what they do is they actually help minority businesses secure grants, funding, thing like that. But they also do financial education. And in Memphis, where this council is located, Ford is building this blue oval city where they're going to make not only electric car batteries, they're going to make 2 different trucks is what I heard this week, right? So we're talking major amounts of money. They're going to make the Lightning. They're in Memphis, and they're going to make this new truck. I forget what they called it, T3. I'm gonna call it. It's probably not T3, but it's something like that. The other thing that's happening is about a $7 billion expansion of St. Jude's Children's Hospital, right? Like, kids with cancer.
Nice.
And it's an amazing organization, but they are expanding the campus, the facilities. I mean, there's a lot of projects that are going on right now in Memphis, and you can tell the growth, the excitement, and even the downtown's being revitalized. So I was really excited about what I saw this week.
Nice. That's a good play. That's great to hear. Like I actually was in Memphis, but it was so long ago. But I do remember it was just a very, very cool place, even though I was probably just like a teenager or something. But it was just such a neat place. And it's always been one of those things, Memphis and Nashville, I'd like to go back to. I hear nothing but good about Nashville, right? And it's been so long since I've been there. So
Isn't that funny? I've been to both this month.
nice.
Isn't that funny? You say Memphis and Nashville.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I was in Nashville. This week, I'm in Memphis. Next week, I'm in New Jersey. I feel like I'm a comedian on the road. You see me in New Jersey. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, I'll be in Phoenix and Tucson. And
This year, this summer, I have been to the giant metropolis of Lethbridge, Alberta, which is a great city, but it's just not a little city in Alberta. And I've been to some small towns to check out the breweries.
yeah.
And that is it. So I have not traveled anywhere. I shouldn't say interesting, because great little breweries and cool little towns, but not like that. Not like that. It's the summer we just kind of hunker down and hang around. So it's I'm a little jealous. You got to go to some neat spots, right?
So is the left bridge the cool, hipper brother of the right bridge?
Yeah, it's
Dun, dun, dun. See, that's a perfect spot for your sound effects, and you missed it.
oh shit. Okay,
You
hold on.
had-
Here it comes. Here it comes. No, because I can't even find it. It'll just be like it's not going to be very interesting now.
Yeah, see, that would have been perfect. That would have been perfect if you could have come up with that.
I wasn't quick enough on the. I was still trying to like process your joke there, but I get it.
I cannot wait till you get back across the border and your words go back to normal.
It takes me a couple months, and then they'll start shifting back, and then I come back here, and everyone thinks I'm weird, and it takes a couple months, and then it shifts back to the old Canadiana, just giving her,
Yeah. Oh, see that one. If you like that, just giving her, because that's what we try to do every week on this podcast. Is just give her. You can go to mikeandblade.com and get that shirt that says "Just giving her."
Get the shirt,
right? And you can just give her in your hometown.
Yeah, we need that. I wonder if we can do a beer mug. That just feels like it should be on the side of a beer mug. I'll have to take a look and see if we can do that.
Yeah, probably so. All right, so today's topic, right? Larry, we spent 12 minutes promoting and BS, and maybe we'll get to the topic. So, anyway, today's topic comes about from an exercise. All right, so I teach the Clear Path to Cash, and this is a 2-day seminar, right? So think of all the things that we cover, but it never fails. There's always a question from the audience, the participants, about inventory, right? And about what's going on, because it's a source of hidden cash. And a guy like you with cash flow, I mean, you don't want people to just waste cash. And that's why I put in the description today, how do you know if it's too old? Just blow on it. If dust comes off of it, hey, you should probably get rid of that inventory, right? It's too old.
Yeah.
But it came about. I'm gonna give this company a little bit of props, right? It's Dog Team Apparel in Memphis, but they sell online so they can do globally. But dog apparel, food. I mean, they have a self-service dog washing station there. This place is amazing in Memphis. Well, Calvin, the CEO, came to my class, right? Of this dog apparel company, pet supply. We'll just call it Pet Supplies, right? Because you got food and you got stuff, toys, probably clothing. Yep. All right, so Pet Supplies. And he mentioned a scenario that most business owners, small business owners, fall into, which is your vendor comes to you and go, "Hey, I got this special on this product. If you take 3 cases, we'll cut the price." So the question came out on, should I take the discount, right? Should I take the discount on this product? So, I mean, have you ever heard anything like this? I mean, where vendors come to you and offer discounts?
Well, I've heard of it. I've never had a company that where I actually had to hold inventory, but absolutely what you're saying. I've heard of it, and I get it. I get that it would be appealing because you're going, oh, if I get a lower cost, I may have a larger profit margin, but you just keep piling more inventory on the shelf. You're putting out a ton of cash. Like, I think of it like a lot of our customers are project-based businesses, right? So I'm getting into my Americana right there. I know how much of a struggle it is when it's like everything's like net 30, but you're not getting paid for 45 days, sometimes 60 days. They're freaking out when it's 90. And then someone buys inventory and has $100,000 of inventory sitting on their shelf for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's you're not getting paid for 700 days, right? So that's a real issue.
Well, that's exactly the problem. And I'll tell you, it happened to me all the time in the bar. The distributor would come in and say, hey, we got this special. You buy one case of this, you get one case of this, you're getting a case free. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, well, the reason why you're offering it to me is because you can't sell it. Nobody's ordering that, and it's sitting on your shelf. Yeah. The very fact that should be your first indication that it's not moving. There's not a good market demand, right? If they're coming to you offering these specials, you should know that there's no market demand. Yeah. They're not doing that on the thing that moves off the shelf every single day. They're not giving you a discount on their fast moving products. They're giving you on one that they can't move. Yeah. Yeah. So that means they're just transferring the problem off of their shelf onto yours.
Onto yours. Yep.
Right. That's really what's happened.
And it's cash right out of your bank account. Like it must feel, I get it. It would feel attractive, but it is just cash out of your bank account and now sitting on a shelf and probably depreciating, because the longer it sits there, the more likely you're going to have to discount it to blow it out.
Well, think about that. The example he came up with was he had to take on like X number of pallets of dog food. Think pallets, right? So it isn't just like me and you go buy a bag. These are pallets of dog food, which have a shelf life. You're talking 6 or 8 months. I forget what he said, but it's
short. Yeah.
And when we did the math, how much does it cost? How much are you selling? How, those type of things. Cause we look at the cost of goods sold, and here's the math, right? It's how much inventory you got divided by your cost of goods sold times 365. So what you're doing is you're converting that ratio to a day, a number of days. Mm-hmm. It was 217 days. A bag of dog food is sitting there for 217 days before it moves, right? Or he has to replace all that. So you're like going, why? And you're saving, and the margin he was making was $15, we'll say, a bag. It wasn't worth it to put out several $1,000s to make an extra $3 to $5 a bag.
Yeah.
I ain't doing it. Just not doing it. Right.
Yeah. It's like that to me. Like I said, at the start, I'm like, I don't know anything about inventory, but I understand cash flow. And we started talking about, I'm like, I get it. Like there's, I can see how attractive it is, but I can see that, like, I think the most successful companies that deal with inventory are drop shippers, because they don't hold any inventory or almost none. And I can see how important it is, because I know you've been here just like me. You've gone to a shop and it's like all the shelves are full and you get to the stuff that you want and it's empty, or they got one left. And it's something that I can't even think of. I know the feeling though. So it's happening, you go to Home Depot and I'm like, Home Depot's probably good at this. So I shouldn't say Home Depot. Go to a smaller retailer and they never have that one thing, or is super low all the time. And these other shelves, like you said, are gathering dust. And it is such an indication of how important it is for that retailer to truly understand what is moving and what isn't. And you want to be as close to that drop shipper as possible. Like you want something just enough. Like the ideal situation is you always have one left on the shelf. So you never have that. You're out and someone came in to buy and you don't have it. But the ideal thing is like you just have like enough on the shelf to keep it moving, right?
Well, I teach a strategy, and it's a mathematical calculation that's built into a spreadsheet, right? And I got the spreadsheet. So, but it's one of those things where if you do it right, you'll only ever have to buy your inventory one time, right? If you do it right, you buy the first set, After that, you're going to use the cash conversion, your customer's money, to replace it, and then use the gross margin, the gross profit, to run your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you do it right, you'll never buy inventory more than once.
And there's a possibility. There's a lot of. I actually bought a piece of equipment for the garage a few weeks ago, and I found out that because I checked the price down in the States, and then I checked the price of a Canadian online retailer, and it was less expensive in Canada. So I bought it from Canada, came to my house, and then I got a letter from like FedEx and they wanted my duty. So I call him and he's like, oh, just send that to me. And I realized he's not holding any inventory.
Mm-hmm.
He's just taking the order. He's having it shipped from the States. He's paying the duty, but he's got a big enough discount that it's more appealing for me to buy from him, even though it's coming direct from the manufacturer. No inventory. And you know what? It's the same as, like we already mentioned, you can go to mikeandblaine.com. And you should. And just giving her t-shirt. We got some great mugs, got all the cool stuff. Guess how much inventory we have? Zero.
Yeah.
We both have written books. We have zero. Actually, I have a few here, but it's not inventory. That is the best way to do it, is that you take the money, they produce it, they ship it out, and you get your cut. Like, that is the ideal. Now, obviously, you can't do it when you're bricks and mortar and you have to have inventory, but it should be that the goal is like that. I want to get as close to that as possible. I don't want inventory sitting on the shelf, gathering dust, chewing up my cash, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the average number of sales that are coming through per month, there's a way to determine how much you should order. Right. If I can get it every week, I take how many I sold per month and divide it by 4, because I can get it every week. So 4 weeks in a month.
Yeah.
And that tells me how much I should have on the shelf at the beginning of the week. If I sell, I don't know, let's just say I'm supposed to have 10 on the shelf at the beginning of the week, based on my calculation. And you walk in there and you only got 5, you only order 5. So you don't over order, or you don't order, because they're both equally as bad. If you have too much, you got dead cash sitting on the shelf, right?
If you have too little, you're missing sales.
Missing out on sales, right? Just like you said, you go there and that one item's always gone.
Yeah.
Well,
and not only are you missing sales, you're missing your customer, which would probably be a repeat customer, starts going to another vendor that's going to have. So it's easy, sort of, like I can imagine, like I said, I haven't had one with a business that had to rely on inventory, but I can imagine how complicated it is based on the number of SKUs you have. So if you've got like 1,000 different products, how the heck do you, like, for a small business? Big business has like probably robots figuring this shit out, but how does a small business truly understand, outside of walking through the store and looking on the shelf and wondering if they have it in the back, how do they have, like, are there systems that can really help them understand, like something that sends them a text message and says, dude, you're low on, X, but don't buy any more Y, right?
All right. So the restaurants, this is where I learned this, right? Because I had 2 different inventory packages. One was for the bar, right? Just liquor, beers, things like that. The other one, though, was for the restaurant. But you got to realize that both of these have shelf lives, right? I can't just have chicken there all year long. I can't have 200 days of chicken. Nobody's gonna buy that, right? And Budweiser had some rules in effect in St. Louis when I lived there that, it was like 180 days from the born on date. And then they would come take it from you, right? Where, they didn't want it to sit there that long. They would come in and check dates. And I don't remember if they gave you full credit or not. I think they may give you partial credit because it was old and skunky, as they used to say. So I think there's probably 300 to 500 items in each category, kitchen and bar. Where you look at it from pasta to bacon to whatever else you're doing. What we did was a basic formula. I made an inventory master spreadsheet, and we only did inventory once a month. That's it. Just wouldn't count it, because the ending inventory for that month became the beginning inventory for the next. So we did it kind of close to the end of the month. Then what we did was just during the month is what did I buy? Because I already know what I had. What did I buy?
Yep.
But the spreadsheet told me how much I should order on a weekly basis. Oh, you're using 10 pounds of steak, right? Don't order 20. Don't order 5. You use about 10. So always,
Yeah.
it's all about the usage and the sales, especially there because you don't want spoilage, right? Which is, it's gone after, lettuce is not good after it wilts.
Yeah, no, I know because our fridge is routinely basically beer and condiments and some olives, and then every once in a while I'll buy some lettuce and make like one salad, but we got a giant bag of lettuce, and by the time we go back to the lettuce, it's like, oh my god, it's growing shit. Like we're bad at that, so I can't even imagine with the restaurants because that's actually your money going up in smoke.
It's funny
because it is for us too.
we have a bowl on the dining room table that is just there for us to throw away fruit. I'm convinced.
The same.
I'm convinced because we buy the fruit to make it look good for the bowl, and then we end up throwing the fruit away. And
to feed the fruit flies. That's the other. That's the one good thing you're doing. Yeah.
Well, but here was kind of the cool thing: if you kind of cut it up, it'll actually help clean your garbage disposal. Like the lemons and the limes, you can kind of push them through there to help clean it with the citrus.
I've actually heard the best way to clean is with ice. Actually, dump ice on your carburetor. I don't know if it's true. I heard that. Maybe it's actually just some gag.
Or it's the best way to buy a new garbage disposal.
Or that, which I've had to do a couple times. I've been under there, just installing a bloody new one. But
All right, so here's what made me think about this today: this inventory thing. Every client I've worked with on a one-on-one basis this year that's had inventory has not had a good process and has not understood what to do with it. Case in point, one of my clients, they would just estimate, oh, we got this warehouse, we got a bunch of stuff that we use on projects, because we do work and, if we think about it, we take the stuff out of there and we go use it on the project. I said, well, how much you think is sitting back there? He goes, I don't know, about 50 grand. I look at his balance sheet. It just says 50 grand flat. I say, hey, can we do an exercise? Would you be willing just one time, just go count it? just once, just see how much is there. Yeah, it wasn't $50,000 worth of stuff. It was over $150,000 worth of stuff. Matter of fact, there was $126,000 more than he needed when we actually did the full analysis. So think about that. Just by counting it, he was making all these extra trips to Home Depot, like just during the day. Oh, we need this, go get it. And he had 10 of them sitting on the shelf inside the warehouse. Whereas if they would have just 5 more seconds before they loaded the truck and say, hey, this is what we need today from Home Depot. We got any of this stuff in here? He could have saved that money. He'd already spent the money. It was sitting there, and it may have been sitting there for years because we never looked at it. Warehouse became storage, not usage.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine there's the secondary issue of tracking how much inventory you have is having a very good system of locating the inventory. Because if you can't locate it, then it'll become faster and easier to just go, I'm not spending 20 minutes down there looking for a screwdriver. I'm going to go and buy it. Right. Like, I can see, cause I've done that. I got like 50 pair of pliers in this house, I think. So
no, what they did was they started labeling all the shelves. And now the same thing goes back. So even when they labeled them, not because they could go back and find it, they labeled it because it was easier to count when I made them count it at the end of the month. Right?
There you go.
Oh yeah. They could see the label, see it on the sheet of paper. Oh, there's 5 there. And but what they're finding is that now they know what's there. Oh, wait a second. We got some of those back in the shelf. Go get them before you go to Home Depot. Right. So it's actually helping us cash flow just by knowing what's back there. Now in the bar or the restaurant, it was easier because every cooler was set up the same way, in all 3, which was, we'll say Budweiser, then Bud Light, then Coors Light, then Miller Light, then craft beer. I knew the left side of the bar was always that, right? The right side of the bar
Yeah.
had some of the other liquors that we used that you had to keep kind of chilled. It was on the right side of the bar. Or even some
Yeah.
weird craft beers were on the right side of the bar. You just kind of knew. And then around the top, where we always had these kind of hanging type things where you had the rums, tequilas, and gins, all in the same location, no matter what bar you went into. So one, we did it because we organized the inventory sheet to count based on walking around. I could just walk in one circle
Yeah.
and get everything and not have to look past all the sheet. It was all in the same order. But two, all the employees, I could move them between all the restaurants and they didn't have to relearn where things were. It was so much more
Yeah.
efficient. They go, oh, I know rum's over here. And they just go over there and get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see in a place like you mentioned, these guys have a warehouse, how useful it'd be. Like if you're counting it, like you probably don't get these guys maybe to do once a month, but maybe once a quarter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to have a map and actually have related products close to each other, because some organization, some system like that is what could actually make the biggest difference in actually like moving it. Because again, if you can't find it, it's useful if you're counting it every once in a while, but how long till that fades, right?
Yeah, well, in the military, we wouldn't count everything but once a year, right? But we did this thing called a 10% inventory once a month. 10% was we took the most critical or sensitive items. I actually started doing that in the restaurants. I'm like, okay, we're going to count steaks and stuff like that that people like to take home or cook for themselves at work. We're going to count those more often, right? Because
Yeah.
I that's the last thing I want to do is be out $1,000 in steaks, 1 month and didn't know about it.
And not know that it was there. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So,
Man, that brings up a whole other issue of that sort of whole fraud angle, which is kind of an interesting sort of thing that actually filters a little bit into inventory. If some of it's disappearing out your door, if it's been sitting there for years, how much easier is it for people to think, well, I'm just going to make use of something, right?
well, let me segue into cash flow, Mike.
All right.
Or it's 109, isn't it?
Notice what? I don't know what episode.
So it's a cash flow thing for dry run, but I'm going to segue into cash dry run next because you're the oddball, or you're the
Okay.
odd
Yeah, I am the oddball. Yep, you're right.
so you're the odd. But here's what I can say: there is more hidden cash sitting on people's shelves than they know, and it's not
Yeah.
it's not that if I don't have the inventory, I won't be able to sell it. It's you need to have the right amount of inventory because that is just as harmful as not pricing correctly. It's just as harmful as not collecting as fast. It's just as harmful as paying too soon, even paying too soon. So
Yeah.
these things all act in concert and in harmony to really balance your cash. And you got to realize when they work in concert, your company will actually need less cash. There's a financial concept out there called the financial gap, and all of these things work together to make a smaller gap in your company. Now, to be able to see cash flow moving through your company, the best tool I know on the market right now is called Dry Run. And I want somebody that I know that knows Dry Run intimately to tell us about it right here at the midway point of the program. Blaine, you know anything about Dry Run?
Yeah. Thank you for this. I do know a little bit about Dry Run. I've been at it for a little while here, and Dry Run, we will say like we actually help CPAs doing client advisory services or doing their CAS services, but they're still in the end the number one person we're helping is a business owner. Whether they're actually using Dry Run, whether they have an internal finance team or an external finance team, it's all about the business owner looking forward and understanding where they're going. So what's happening in my cash flow today? What can I collect on today? What's in my sales pipeline over the next few months and the next quarter? And how is that going to drive cash flow into my business? And then how do I expand the business? How do I grow? What if I do this? What if I do that? How do I do that? All of these things can be modeled in Dry Run, and it's really simple. It's really easy. It's fast. But just because we're talking about inventory today, you could actually take that in Dry Run and isolate it and say, I just dropped like 150 grand on inventory, and isolate the sales on that inventory and actually see visually how long it takes to get out the door and how much inventory is sitting on the shelf. And it will be a really good exercise to help avoid some of that, where you think it's moving through a lot faster than it is, there's going to be a reality check at the end of the month going, yeah, we're still sitting like we've been at this for months and months. And basically I'm still 120 grand in the hole on that inventory. Nice little exercise maybe that you might want to try doing. And so anyway, come talk with us at dryrun.com and we'll get you set up.
Yeah, quick question about it. Is it true you can model an unlimited number of scenarios and track them in dry run?
Yeah, you can like unlimited to a degree. The more scenarios you make, the slower. Like if you got I got 100 scenarios with 8 million, okay. But you can do all unlimited forecasts, unlimited scenarios. So you actually can isolate things. You can do. I'm just going to look at this on my cash flow, but then I'm going to start another forecast to isolate some of our inventory. So it's a tool that's it works with what you need to do in your business. So lots of flexibility, a ton of control, but easy to use. That's why people come to us. We'll do 90% of the heavy lifting with automation, but we'll still give you the ability to customize and do what you need to do, so you don't have to go to a spreadsheet and waste hours on that.
That's right. So if you're hearing this today, at least today, we're talking about the September 2023. You get a month free, right? You just go sign up. You can try it. That's it. You just get a whole month, not 7 days, not 24 hours. You get a whole month to try this thing.
Yeah. Come and give it a try and talk with our team. And we'll help you get started too. So, we're here for business. We're here for business owners. We love talking with them every day. So,
hey, matter of fact, you are right now giving the white glove treatment to one of my clients. Helping her set it up, helping her, model the scenario she's interested in looking at. So yeah. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, good. So here's what I'm thinking. First of all, this inventory thing, having the right amount, not having it sit too long. But what do you do with it, right? I mean, did you know? I mean, you probably do. But I mean, I want people on listening to the podcast to know that when you run your inventories down just even a little bit, it puts more cash in your pocket. And people go, well, how? Well, yeah, you can have sales. But also there's a secondary thing that happens that people don't think about, which is I sold it. Normally when I sell 5, I go buy 5 more and put it on the shelf. If I'm running the inventory level down, I get rid of 5, and guess what I don't do next? I don't buy the next 5. So I keep the money in the company that way too. So I get the cash from the sale, and I keep the cash that I would have normally replaced that inventory with. It's kind of a double hit. So always think about your inventory. I ran across a company because you'll run into these situations. Computer repair company, and on one of the shelves, remember at my dust test, like, what's in these boxes? But they're like 1 by 1 by like 8-inch high boxes, right? So think about 1 foot wide, 1 foot, square box, but 8 inches high. I opened it up. This is right before COVID, right? So we're going to say 19, might have been 18, 19.
Yeah.
Think about that time frame. Computer repair shop. I open it up. What do you think's inside this box?
Yeah, 486.
Close. They were the 12-inch floppies.
Yeah, okay, used by the 486 probably.
Right. Yeah, the big one. I mean, I'm talking about the ones that you and I carried around at school.
286, actually. Yeah,
something like that. These are the huge ones that the government used to store stuff on or something, because nobody that I knew ever used these. They had 8 to 10 boxes of these things. I mean,
man.
And there's probably 50 in each box, maybe more. It might have been 100 or something like that. What do you think happens to that? What do you do with it? Nobody's buying it. So
it goes in the garbage.
It
goes in the garbage, yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't, because you could get some goodwill off of it. What we did was we contacted the Civic Arts Center in his hometown. And what they have is an arts camp, summer camp for kids every summer. We donated these to the Civic Arts Center, and they used them throughout the year to create mobiles, or what are those things called? Because kids would paint on them, and they'd draw on them, and they'd hang them, and they look kind of cool. They put glitter on them and stuff like that. Nice. And by doing that, though, he was able to write off the full value. Right?
Oh, okay, nice.
Right? So, I mean, it's a different thing. And do a press release, get some, get some goodwill because he could put stickers on all of them if he wanted to. I forget how
Yep.
I think he put stickers on the box and made a show of here's a donation from ABC Computer Repair. But
Yep.
there's ways to reduce your inventory. And if you do that, there's a thing called a carrying cost. Have you ever heard that?
I've heard of it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so carrying costs are hidden operational expenses, things that hide in your day-to-day business. And what the carrying cost of inventory means that just because I have inventory, I have costs associated with touching it, with moving it, with ordering it, with storing
Square
it,
feet.
with square feet.
Square feet and heat and electricity and everything else, all related to storing this stuff.
Yeah, and people and the works, right? So it's software maybe to mess with it. So the carrying cost, it's estimated that 25% of your inventory. So if you have $100,000 in inventory, $25,000 of that inventory is hidden in your operating expense. You heard that?
I've never heard that, but it doesn't surprise me when you look at everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot more sophisticated way to figure out exactly what yours is. But if you're going to just guess, this is the rule of thumb: 25% of your inventory is just operating costs. So if you can reduce inventory or reduce the space that it's in, like maybe you're like, well, I don't need this extra unit. I don't need this storage unit. That I'm renting every month. All of a sudden, you can lower some of your operating expense just by running your inventory down.
Well, and can you imagine like someone that actually has so much inventory, they have offsite storage, and then they run low on something. Now they got to have staff in a truck going over to the offsite storage. You're just bleeding time, energy, money, like everything just to store stuff.
You just described some of my neighbors' holiday decorations. that they have so many of it that they have to store it off-site in a storage unit, and every year they have to go pick it up and bring it back and put the holiday decorations up, and then they have to go take it back. Think about that.
We see that in there.
That's not a
business. In Arizona all the time.
Somebody personal.
Yeah, we see it in Arizona all the time. These houses that are in our neighborhood have. It's unbelievable how much stuff they have. And it's not just Christmas. They have stuff up for Thanksgiving. They have stuff up for Halloween. They have offsite storage for this stuff. Although some of them actually hire, I didn't realize this was a thing, but they hire companies to come and put everything up. And it probably is cheaper than storing the stuff, but they have them come and do their entire house. In fact, the guys across the street right here they have a company come with a big lift so they can put these lights around their Christmas tree. Or this giant tree, but for Christmas, it looks amazing. But that's amazing to me.
I'm going to tell you what, that was the best thing that ever happened to the landscaping industry, was where they could get into holiday light installation because they weren't doing any work. They're not mowing yards. They're not doing, in Texas, they're not even shoveling snow. Right?
Yeah.
But installing lights becomes now another source of revenue in what's normally a down season. Now, here's the cool thing about that is if you use the landscape company, a lot of times you don't even have to buy the lights. They'll just, or maybe you buy the lights and they store them and bring them out. But some of them already have lights that you can just use, right? They just come out and put it out. And they'll take them down, keep them in your box, and they'll do it for next year. I think the average cost around here is like, I'll say $800 a year to have your lights put up and taken down and stored. That's not.
Yeah, and I'm totally embarrassed. I shouldn't be embarrassed, but like I have the lamest little string of lights and a wreath that I hang up in Arizona. I do it myself, and it's kind of embarrassing because the cul-de-sac across the way looks like it's like lit up from space. It's like Christmas vacation, and here's our goofy little lights. And I got to tell you a quick story because one of the years we went to Arizona was probably one of the first years we went down there. We were only down there for about a month and a half or something, and I had all these lights in Edmonton here, but I had them on timers. I thought, it'll be nice and it'll look good for the neighborhood. And one of the things I had were these two deer, and they're kind of like these skeleton deer, like not skeleton, it's wireframe sort of deer with lights on them, and they sit, and the one with the buck, his head would turn back and forth, and it looked really quite nice, right? And so I had them on a timer. And then when we got back in the spring, honestly, it wasn't as late as now, but it was probably too late to have Christmas stuff up anymore. But what I found out was the little connector between the head and the rest of the body, when the head was moving, had either broke or came undone. And so apparently for like almost the entire month we're away, there was a headless deer lit up on our on our front lawn. It is every night they lit up the body of the deer with no head. So it was kind of that was the last time we did that.
Yeah. All right. So one of my most dreaded task every year is put up the Christmas tree. Right. Just one of my, I just don't like it. I love it when it's up. I enjoy it, but I don't like doing it. Right? So,
Yeah.
the same holds true for lights on the house. So we ran across this company called Trim Light, and it's installed permanent lighting into the eaves of the house. Right? It just runs on an app on your phone. We only use it for holidays, but it was like $3,500. I don't have to pay rental fees. I don't have to pay $800 a year installation. I paid one time, and it's there, and I can make it dance to music. I can make it different colors. I can make it wave. I can do all these different things with these lights. So yeah, it's so I cheated that way, and I installed lights in the house.
I'm looking at a house right now through this big window in our basement across to the house. They have that, and the guys across the street there, they have that. And I feel really guilty because we're kind of gone all winter. And the one year we put up a little light on that did like almost like a disco ball on our deck. That was it. That's kind of embarrassing, but I don't know. Like I put some lights up, but I've just never been the big lights sorta. I just do it out of guilt mostly, I think. But
all right, so I want to kind of finish up with the conversation about like how do I really get rid of inventory? How do I move it, right? And you almost got to look at it, even if you're a small business, you got to look at how like Target and Walmart and those folks do it. If you notice, they got this markdown strategy, and you probably see it on the price tags if you go there, where they're different colors, and the different colors tell them what the markdown is on that product, right? So a regular colored price tag is full price, but then after a certain amount of time that it hasn't sold, they'll change that color, whatever, I'll call it white. They'll change it to where it might have a yellow, right? Which means it's 35% off, right? So yellow tags are like 35% off. And it also tells everybody looking at it in the store that it's somewhere between 30 and 60 days old, maybe. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but we'll say that it's not new anymore. It's been sitting there. And then if it hasn't sold by like, we'll say 60 days or 90 days, they'll change it to a red, like a tag, or they might even put it on clearance. And what they're doing is that they keep marking it down, because to them, even a sale, even if they have to sell it below cost, there's still contribution margin. There's still cash to help pay fixed expenses. And it moves the inventory off so they can always keep it moving. Most small business owners don't think about a markdown strategy. Like, how do I keep things moving off the shelf? They want to say, no, I'm supposed to get 50% on all these items, markup or margin.
yeah.
And what they're not thinking about is the longer it sits there, really that margin is degraded. Because you're not selling, you're not making the sale. Sell it, get cash in, and bring in something different.
Bring in something that hopefully is going to sell. You're not getting the cash in the door, and you always run the risk of having the floppy disk sitting on your desk, and like
right.
Something that's just like if it's seasonal and you're past the season, what are you going to do? Hang on to it next year and store it? Like,
that's what they do. They clearance it and move it, right?
Yeah, get it out the door. Get it out the door.
There are people that shop the day after just because of that strategy. They go, oh, Valentine's Day's over. I'm gonna go and see what candy is left. Right? I don't know what it is. They always go back the day after. Why
That'd be a good strategy for Halloween candy. Like, they always have it on sale, but it's always like, I should actually grab it for next year, because then the kids, that's probably kind of hard and crunchy and dry, but got a discount.
They're kids. Who cares? No, but even for yourself, right? Maybe you like candy. right? So I mean,
I like it. That's why I can't buy it, because I'll end up eating it.
yeah. Hey, by the way, did you see that picture I put on Facebook of that hot dog I ordered last night?
I did. It was epic. That was I didn't know it was a hot dog at first. I'm looking at it like, that looks amazing. I don't even know what it is, and I had to read that it was a hot dog.
I went into this place and I'm like going, I'm not really that hungry. I think maybe just a hot dog, because they had like steak and they had pasta and they had all this stuff. I'm like, it's just a hot dog. And you know what I'm thinking? Just a regular old hot dog. They go, you want a chili dog, chili cheese dog? I'm like going, that sounds too heavy. That's what I thought last night. No, well, that's your option. You get the chili cheese dog or you get the daily dog, and the daily dog changes every day. I'm like going, yeah, just give me the daily dog. I mean, what could that be? But it's not chili cheese. I thought I was getting something different. Yeah, it's a 10-inch hot dog. It had bacon. It had eggs. It had cheese. It had some type of spicy mustard or spicy mayo or something like that on it. I'm like, I had to finally pull it off of the bun because I couldn't eat it all. It was so, I don't know if you can see the picture, but I put a Coors Light bottle there just to show you that it was like 5 times bigger than the Coors Light bottle.
That's what, yeah, like I didn't even know what it was. When I looked at it, I'm like, what is that? Like a cheesesteak? Like I didn't even know what it was at first. There's so much stuff. I couldn't even see all the stuff that's on it.
And they serve it with a steak knife. That makes sense because there's nobody picking that thing up. And I thought I was getting a hot dog, man. The price on this thing was $9. I'm like, I'm just getting a hot dog.
Oh, really? For that is unbelievable. That should be a $20 hot dog.
Yeah, it was $9 with potato salad, right? I had like a scoop of potato salad and a hot dog. I'm like, that makes sense. That seems right. The right amount of price. When that came out, I'm like, this is probably a $17 hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds pretty. I would probably get through a quarter of it at max, but it still sounds pretty epic. So I do like the occasional hot dog. It's so rare when I have one.
All right, I'm gonna close with what I know or learned today. If you have inventory, if you do, you have to look at each product. We'll call it a SKU, right? You have to look at each one and determine how much you're selling per month. Then you have to look at how often can I get it? People go, well, Mike, why do you say that? I said, because people got caught up in this COVID thing. They go, I couldn't get it as often as I used to. I used to be able to get it in 1 week or 2 weeks. Now I can get it in 6 weeks. Well, if you know that timing, you change the order based on that calculation. It's the average number of sales per month divided by the number of times you can get it per month. And that will tell you how much you should have on the shelf. So if you go in and count and go, I got 5 and I need 400, well, then I order 395. Right? It doesn't matter. The math is the math. It doesn't matter. When you know that the number of deliveries change, that's the thing that manages your cash the best. So think about each product as an individual product, and you'll manage cash better and keep more in your pocket.
Yeah, and it comes down to knowing your business, because like you said, that if you don't know what's on the shelf, if you're not counting it, at least not every day, but regularly, monthly, every couple of months, whatever, if you don't know your business, you're hurting yourself really badly. And when you do know your business, execute what you need to execute. If you got to blow something out and you have to drop the price and get it out the door, drop the price and get it out the door, get that money and get that cash in the door so you have the cash to work with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it has dust on it, nobody's going to buy it. They haven't bought it, and I'm not going to buy it. It looks too old to me. I actually
buy a good shop vac and then you're good to go.
That's right. But even like dented cans, don't you do that in the grocery store? You're like, that one's dented. I'm going to get another one.
Oh, yeah. Never buy the dented can. I don't do it all the time. I'm not quite that snob, but when I do go in and I look for IPAs, I tend to go like, exactly, look at the bottom of the can, look at the date, because I know IPAs are best when they're fresh. And even that, like if they're not moving it, they got to discount it because it's not going to be as good. People aren't going to buy it.
All right. This is episode 109. Guess what? Next week is 110. 110. I have to change the whole way I would describe this thing. But episode 109, I am Mike. That is Blaine. This is Mike and Blaine. You've been listening to us. And if you want to buy our stuff, where do you go?
MikeandBlaine.com. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button, follow button, like button. What else is there? There's whatever it is, so you don't miss an episode. We're on a bunch of stuff right now. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and we're also, of course, on every one of your favorite podcast networks. Make sure you subscribe so that you're just getting us every week.
And we're growing. Downloads are growing. People are hearing this.
Mm-hmm.
People are buying this beer. People are talking about our episodes, texting me what they hear. So you can be one of those. Yeah. Just subscribe.
Absolutely. And I want to, again, thanks again, Larry Weinstein, our beer sponsor. I think it's last week for Larry. Did I mention Larry? You were talking about Larry at the start. Thanks again, Larry. Appreciate it so much.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.